True Blue.
During the True Blue sales event going on right now at Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John, take advantage of 0% financing, cashback options, and other year-end specials on select new Holland tractors, hay and forage products, and material handling equipment. Get in on all the True Blue savings now at Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John. Hurry in. Deals end when the year does, on December 31st. For commercial use only, customer participation subject to credit qualification and CNH Industrial Capital Canada Ltd approval. Standard terms, conditions, and other restrictions apply. Down payment may be required.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig.
Hey,
on Moose
welcome.
FM.
Oh, I talked too early. Welcome to Moose Talks, our second episode of this show. This federal election has been going on for some time now. It's getting close to the end. We've got just under 2 weeks rather to go until the final voting day. So we're going to continue talking about that today with Catherine Kendall, the Green Party candidate in our riding of Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies. We'll chat about what she and the Green Party plan to do around the Peace should she get elected. That's coming up in about 10 or 15 minutes time. Up first, though, we have a local alternate assistant returning officer from Elections Canada, Fort St. John. It's Jocelyn Isert. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi there. Thanks for having me on today.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for being our first in-studio guest in this edition of the show. So I thought we'd approach this from the viewpoint of someone who's maybe never voted before, or maybe a young person who's just getting to the age to be able to vote in this federal election. So we're going to talk about the basics, kind of how the election works. Why don't you tell us a bit about the process of getting in to cast your ballot at the polling station on election day?
Sure, thanks. It's always great to have an opportunity to share information with our community members because voting processes change between federal, provincial, and municipal processes. So for the federal election that's coming up on General Election Day is Monday, October 21st. In order to vote in the federal election, you need to be on the list of electors. Mm-hmm. So you either need to come into a voting station and register yourself on the list of electors, or if your information has changed, such as your name or your address, and you need to update or revise some of your information, you can also come to a voting station. We can update your information for you. Once you are on our list of electors, either revised or registered, at that time we would allow you to have a ballot, and if you can prove to us who you are and where you live in terms of identification, we can issue the ballot process there on site once you confirm to us that you are a Canadian citizen and you are 18 years of age and able to vote in the federal election this time around.
I see. Now that includes the day of. You can walk. If you're not registered, you can register and vote on the day of the election. Is that correct?
Correct. You can register and vote on the day of election to which the voting station you belong.
Yeah.
So you have to only, on election day, the only option to vote is at the box or the polling station to which your address belongs to. Mm-hmm. But from September 11th, the drop of the writ, up until Tuesday, October 15th, there are about 400 returning offices across the country that you can vote at any day from anywhere in Canada. So if you happen to be visiting us in Fort St. John from Calgary or Edmonton, and you want to participate in the voting opportunity here in Fort St. John, you can come to our returning office in the community. We're located at 105 4300 Street, right across from the Tim Hortons, up by the City Hall. And you can vote in that office from anywhere in Canada up until Tuesday.
Wow.
So we would get your information. We would look up your list of electors in your home community. We would print off that document. We would place it in front of you at your voting screen, and then you would write the name of your candidate on a write-in ballot. Then that ballot goes into a series of secrecy envelopes, and then eventually we send it to Ottawa, and they send it to the polling area to which it belongs, and it's counted as part of that count on General Election Day and included in those numbers when they do their verifications of votes.
Wow, that's fast. I had no idea that you could do that until the 50th. So if I was, as you say, from Calgary, and I went and did that, I could vote for my a candidate who's in the riding that I live in Calgary from here, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. In fact, we've had about 700 voters already vote in Fort St. John at our returning office, and about 200 of them are national, and about 600 were local. So we were able to provide services for a variety of voters, and the process works very smoothly in our office. You have a little bit more time, and there's some chairs to sit down. So, if you need a little bit more time, or your grandparents want to come in together and have an opportunity to sit and not be as rushed in the voting stations, because sometimes there could be lineups, there could be some long waits. So to eliminate that, come and visit us at our returning offices. There's, like I said, 400 offices across the country, and we're ready, willing, and able to help everybody vote here today.
That's wonderful. You've already kind of touched on how the voting process works in that specific kind of situation. Election day, though, you're going in to cast your vote. What happens from the moment the person kind of has their ballot filled out and has decided how they're going to vote? How does it get counted? Where does it go from there?
So the election process is a convoluted administrative shuffle, let's say. So in our electoral district, we are going to have about 30 polling boxes on general voting day.
Yeah.
So about 250 from general election day. Then we have some mobiles. We have hospital ballots. We also have advanced voting stations, which will all be counted and collected on voting day. So you get to the polling station, you receive a ballot, you mark your ballot, you place it in the box. Whether you do that at advance or general voting day, regardless, the count happens at the end of the close of the polls on Monday, October 21st.
I see.
So right now we have 3 advance polls going on in our community and around Fort St. John. One at the Charlie Lake Hall, the Taylor Community Hall, and the Fort St. John Legion are our advance stations that are going to be available for voting this weekend. When those advanced people close their stations on Monday night, all those materials, including the marked ballots, will come in a secure box and be locked in our voting case for 1 week until the general election day. On general election day, at the close of polls at 7 p.m., the general election workers will begin to count their ballots on site. Anybody who worked the advance polls will come back to our team on general voting day and count their advance poll boxes. So nothing is counted or tabulated until the close of general election day, and then all those numbers are calculated and submitted to our returning office in Dawson Creek, and they provide the statistics to Ottawa to update the media listings and information available to the public.
I see. Is it hand counted? It's not electronic?
It's hand counted.
Wow.
So every ballot in a box is opened and counted for a candidate. It's done in teams of 2. Every voting station has a supervisor to oversee the administrative processes, because it's a lot of information in a very short period of time. And let's be honest, we're hiring people to work 1 or 4 days every 4 years.
Yeah.
So the training process changes each year, the knowledge changes each year. It's great to get individuals to come back to the team and provide those services. It just makes it more smoother on counting day. And if you could imagine, if numbers don't balance, we have to then look into, if we had 25 ballots used and now we're counting only 24 votes, what happened to that other ballot? Sometimes somebody spoils a ballot, and so then we have to count that. We've had a variety of situations about counting the ballots, and at the end of the day, we've always balanced. We have found a missing ballot, or we've looked in the spoiled envelope and we realize that this is a ballot that needs to be calculated, and then it adds up to the number of ballots that we should have being used, unused, and spoiled collectively.
Okay. And again, simple questions here just for people who've never done this before. The ballot, it lists the candidates and the party they're representing. Is that correct?
If you go to an advance poll or a general election poll, yes. The ballot is a ballot in our electoral district, we have 5 candidates who are listed on the ballot. So they would come to the polling station, they would prove to us in terms of their identification. The poll clerk will find them on the list of electors and cross them off as they have voted. They are given a ballot. They go behind a privacy screen. They mark their ballot with an X to the candidate they wish to vote for. They bring that ballot back. It is placed into the ballot box. When it's placed into the ballot box, the poll clerk will check off that person has actually voted and submitted their vote. And then all of the ballots are collected till the count opportunity at the end of the polls.
And that's to ensure that someone doesn't vote twice, which is illegal.
Correct. And we have some targets in place to eliminate individuals who attempt to vote more than once. There are also large precautions if you do vote more than once or fraudulate the provincial election system. There could be a combination of a large cash fine and jail time.
Wow.
And at some point, the onus does go onto the voter. When we ask that they are 18 years of age and a Canadian citizen, they declare to us that they are, and we take them at face value. They are put on the list. And then in between elections, there's a 4-year audit process that happens. And during that audit process is where some of those situations are brought to light, and then our ethics committee and the teams in Ottawa deal with those individuals as necessary.
Okay. And you use the term spoiled ballot. Again, what does that mean exactly?
Thank you for asking that. A spoiled ballot. So if an individual comes to our voting station and we give them a ballot, they go behind the screen and they mark a wrong candidate. They say to us, "Oh my gosh, I marked a wrong candidate." And we say, "You know what? Not a problem. If you make an error on a ballot, we'll allow you one additional ballot, only once. So we'll spoil the first one to which you told us is not valid. So that ballot will be marked spoiled. It will be put in a spoiled ballot envelope, which will be still calculated because we have to account for that missing ballot now, or spoiled ballot. And we would give the voter an additional ballot. They would go and do the voting process. If for some reason they spoiled a second one, unfortunately, we're not able to give a third. So you are allowed one extra ballot. If you make an error and spoil a ballot, we can provide you that service one additional time.
Okay. And you touched on this earlier as well. You talked about the ID that you need to bring to prove who you are. What are some examples of what that is?
That's a great question. And in our rural community, it sometimes causes us a challenge because Elections Canada tells us your identification has to prove to us who you are and where you live. So who you are by terms of a picture. So it could be any piece of identification that has a picture. Driver's license, passport, Costco card, gun certificates, all kinds of things in our community has your picture on it. Then you have to prove to us where you live. And where you live has to be your actual physical address. It can't be your P.O. box number because we know you don't live there. And for us to decide on polling stations and how many voters in a polling station, we need to create boundaries. So if your driver's license has a P.O. box number in Charlie Lake, but you actually live in Fort St. John, and your address on our list is your P.O. box number, then we're going to think you live there and we're going to make you go vote in Charlie Lake, which probably isn't your correct address. So you need to prove to us who you are and where you live. If that driver's license has your picture and your current 911 address, that's all we need. If the driver's license has your P.O. box number and you present that to us along with your VIC card, and your P.O. box number is consistent with the information that Elections Canada has for you, we will allow you to vote. Now, if you're registering yourself to the list of electors, you have to prove to us who you are and where you live, and a P.O. box number would not be acceptable because you're not on our list. But if you're on our list with the P.O. box number, and your information's consistent, then we'll allow you to vote with those processes. So it's a little bit of a gray area. It's not as black and white as it used to be. And this is the first time in federal election processes that they're allowing the voter information cards that have gone out in your mailboxes to be utilized as a piece of identification to prove where you live. So if you have an expired driver's license or an expired passport that has a photo and you have that VIC card, bring it in, because a combination of those two items can allow you the proper information to cast your ballot today.
Wonderful. Now, last question here, Jocelyn. You mentioned this before we got on air. You guys are still looking to fill a few positions for Election Day to help with the process, aren't you?
You know what, we are. In our electoral district, we're going to have to hire about 1,200 people for advance and voting days. In our community of Fort St. John, we're responsible for about 300 people to find, train, hire, and then hopefully they can commit to us and show up at the polls on advance or voting days. We're still looking for about 20 people. So if anybody is interested in working with Elections Canada on General Election Day, please call 1-866-809-3316 or pop into our office at 105 4300 Street, right across from Tim Hortons by the City Hall. We'd love to help you out.
Absolutely. And I assume if you want more information about voting, what ID is acceptable, that sort of thing, the Elections Canada website would be able to help you out.
The Elections Canada website has a lot of information, where to vote, candidates in your electoral district, voting poll times and dates and locations, all kinds of great stuff. And our local phone number is listed there as well. And if we can help you out with anything local, please reach out to us because we're here to support the Democratic Society in our community.
Excellent. Thank you so much for stopping by to talk with us today, Jocelyn.
It's been a pleasure. It's always great to share some information to the communities. And again, I'll just reiterate, this advanced voting has started today, and polls are open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. All of our workers will not be eating turkey this weekend because we're busy at the polls providing a service. So please come down and visit and utilize the advanced voting opportunities. It will definitely eliminate long lines at the polling stations on October 21st. And we've got a big team out there to support everybody and have their vote be counted.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Jocelyn. All right. That was, again, Jocelyn Isert, the Alternative Assistant Returning Officer with Elections Canada here in Fort St. John. All right. Up next on Moose Talks, we're going to be joined by Catherine Kendall, the Green Party candidate in our riding of Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies. That coming up in just a minute right here on Moose Talks on Moose FM.
So you've got a project you need done, and you need the equipment, right? Well, United Rentals has a division for that. No matter what type of job you're tackling, United Rentals has equipment for rent in all divisions of their company, including trench safety, pump, power and HVAC, tool, and heating. United Rentals also offers equipment training and general rentals of air compressors, boom lifts, welders, towable light towers, and more. To learn more, give United Rentals a call at 250-262-3005.
Thanksgiving dinners are all about making memories. Safeway and Sobeys have everything to make preparing your Thanksgiving feast as easy as pumpkin pie. From now until October 12th, spend $100, get 100 Air Miles reward miles, or a $10 gift card. See in store or online for details. Also, fresh grade A turkeys, only $1.99 a pound. Fresh strawberries, 454 grams, only $2.99 each. And Cracker Barrel cheese, 450 grams, just $4.97. This week at Safeway and Sobeys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Ernie Sports Experts get you ready for winter. Gloves, toques, and mitts. Buy a kid's winter jacket and get the ski pants half price. Ernie's has a great selection of winter boots, including Bogs, the best boots for kids of all ages. And when you spend $250 or more on regular priced outerwear, get a free $50 gift card. Spend $500, get a free $100 gift card. Only at Ernie's Sports Experts.
Ernie's Sports Experts. Ernie's.
I hope I win us a year of free Big Macs.
I hope I win us a year of free movies.
I hope I win us a shopping spree.
Well, I hope I win us a vacation.
I hope I win a $50,000 cash prize.
What happened to us?
Fry?
Monopoly Coast to Coast at McDonald's is back. With 1 in 5 chances to win millions of prizes, it's anyone's game. What will you win?
Prizes available diminish and chances of winning may change as prizes are claimed. See full game details and the official rules at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Did you know the traditional gift for a 20th anniversary is China? Well, this year marks Arctech Welding and Machining's 20th year in business. But China in a machine shop? I can just imagine. Not the best idea. We're celebrating this milestone thanks to loyal customers like Viper Innovations, Mastech Canada, WL Construction, and Westar Oilfield Rentals, to name a few. From the team at Arctech, thank you. See our projects at arctech-welding.com. Arctech Welding and Machining. Fast, friendly, reliable.
There's always something going on in the energetic city, and the staff from the City of Fort St. John Recreation Department have planned a variety of exciting events and programs. Here's what's coming up. Swimmers aged 55 plus are invited to try stroke corrections for free on October 20th from 11 to noon at the North Peace Leisure Pool. After you swim, enjoy an info session to learn more about the 55 plus BC Games. For more information on this event, view the Recreation Leisure Guide at cityoffortstjohn.ca or follow the City of Fort St. John Recreation on Facebook. Meet the Adams Family up close and personal live on stage at the North Peace Cultural Center in Fort St. John. Stage North brings the kooky and upside-down world of the Adams Family to life October 25th, 26th, 31st, and November 1st and 2nd at 7:30 p.m. and a one matinee on November 2nd at 2 p.m. 24 cast and another 13 production crew have been working since August on this fun and entertaining show. Tickets for the Adams Family musical are on sale now at mpcc.bc.ca or at MPCC box office. Due to some unconventional content, suggested age is 12 years or older.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
We're back on Moose Talks. I'm Dub Craig. Thanks again to Jocelyn Iser, the assistant or alternative assistant returning officer, for stopping by to give us some great information about the actual electoral process here in Fort St. John. Now we're joined by another candidate that you're going to see on the ballot if you do advance voting this weekend or on October 21st on the general election day. It's Catherine Kendall, the Green Party candidate here in Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies. How's it going today, Catherine?
Good morning. Yeah, it's going great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I guess you're on your way back from, you were here last night for the All Candidates Forum, so we appreciate
That's
you
right.
taking time for us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, Catherine, in case you weren't able to see the All Candidates Forum last night, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? Why did you decide to run for the Green Party in this election?
Well, I was called about 8 weeks ago by Hillary Crowley, who's done this 4 times running, and she's a good friend of mine, and I've been doing community development work for 20 years now, working with high-risk, vulnerable children, youth, and families. I have 6 kids of my own, and I just felt that grassroots work is really slow in watching change happen, so I really wanted to step it up and hope that I could get into help change come from the top and down.
Okay, and you live in Prince George or nearby, is that correct?
Yes, I'm about 50 kilometers east of Prince George towards Jasper.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, perfect. Well, I mean, why don't we start with a basic question? What do you think makes you a good candidate to be a member of parliament for our region?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, the community development work that I've been doing is all about actually making sure that the community people that you work with, you're addressing the needs that they have. So actually going up to the people and saying, you know, what's going on with you, what issues are at your heart, and actually finding creative solutions. And so I feel that our MPs do that work as well.
I see. Okay, so suited well for the position, I'd say. Well, let's talk a bit about the platform that the Green Party's put out as it relates to the Peace region. You guys talk a lot about transitioning the economy from resource-based to certainly a greener, if not just green economy in general. I mean, the Peace region is largely economically reliant, at the moment anyway, on fossil fuel development. How does the Green Party, if elected in government, transition a region like the Peace into a green economy with, I guess, a minimum of upheaval?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's certainly, I understand, definitely at the heart of everybody in Fort Nelson, Fort St. John, and that whole area, in the Northeast Peace. And so it's definitely a conversation that we had that got quite heated at our event last night.
Yeah.
And so I was sharing with some folks there that, you know, I'm not coming with, you know, my blinders on, and that, you know, I'm trying to create some utopic world, you know, a utopia that we think that it's just going to be all perfect and green. It really is about recognizing the footprint that we're putting on this planet and what it is that we want to see in the future for our children. And so the Green Party platform, I feel for myself, offered that and in a transitional form. So looking at our footprints that the oil and gas and the LNG are impacting on the planet and in this area, and recognizing that, yes, they are a resource base that provides the source of all economy in the north. And so what could that look like? So in the Fort Nelson area, we realized that there is geothermal, and so we had some discussions there with the mayor and some community members there about what that could look like. Definitely increasing in the agriculture areas and infrastructure that provides local agriculture that's really supported financially. And then down in Fort St. John, I realized that there is, you know, wind is starting to become much more common, especially down in the Tumbler Ridge area. And solar has a capacity. It's being used in the LNG area on small scale for some of the pumps and so on, and increasing that capacity so that we can actually understand how it might fit in the long term.
I see. Now, I mean, I think the argument can be made that there are regions in British Columbia and Canada where it might be easier to transition to a green economy. For example, the BC government, as you know, they've committed to, the NDP government, I should say, committed to having all kind of, I can't remember exactly the term, but essentially combustion engines would be off the road in about 10 years or something to that effect. That's going to be difficult in a place like this where everyone is so spread out, and sometimes you just need to travel a lot more than you do, say, if you live in downtown Vancouver. Would you, as an MP, advocate for when a government, whether it's the Green Party or not, is trying to make changes like that, for recognizing that a solution that works in Toronto or works in Vancouver has to be tailor-made to work differently in a place like the Peace region where everyone is spread out a lot more?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was talking to a gentleman last night who was speaking about how Trudeau thinks that we're going to have solar panels all over the north when actually we don't even have enough daylight in the winter. So how is that going to work? So we definitely have to keep those things under consideration. And then, and the fact that, you know, the colder climate doesn't allow, you know, electric vehicles to run at their full capacity. So how is it that we keep those vehicles warm? And then how it is that we keep those vehicles running at, you know, a higher capacity? Then yes, you're putting in more energy, but all of those things have to be taken into consideration.
Okay. Now, again, the lumber industry has been kind of wrecked in the Northeast in the past few years. There's lots of curtailments and whatnot at mills. Do you and the Green Party have an idea of what you might do to help out people in the Peace region who have lost their jobs in the lumber industry recently?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's definitely talk about how it is. It's just like much like agriculture, where local infrastructure needed to be created. And so with the post-secondary offering where youth would actually be able to go to school for no cost in post-secondary education, so definitely educating our youth so that when they're coming out of university, they don't have that debt load and they're able to just focus on what it is that they might want to do in the community around the forest sector, making sure that we can create local jobs and value added. As long as there's trees standing, there's that opportunity to create products that can actually be created and built within the community, so increasing the skill force so that people are working on, you know, fine skills that allow us to be crafters as opposed to just shipping logs raw right out of the province and the country.
I'm glad you brought up the free tuition. I think I watched a bit of the candidates forum last night. It came up. I don't remember the question exactly, but I think someone from the crowd actually, I mean, how does the Green Party going to pay for that free tuition? Because tuition is expensive and it is already sort of partially subsidized in a way by the government. That seems like it's going to take on a lot of debt, or a lot of, you're going to have to find that money somewhere. Does the Green Party have a plan for that?
Well, at the top of the list is definitely fossil fuel subsidies are going to be removed. Yeah. So there's a lot of money that's going to be shifting around. I mean, the whole costed platform is all about how it is we're going to take money from here and here. Definitely the tax strategy that had come up last night, Bob Zimmer mentioned it about the transaction tax. So that transaction tax, he had alluded to the fact that it would be transaction tax for actually every person in Canada, where, you know, transaction on debit cards and credit cards, whereas that transaction tax is not the case. The 0.2 lift to 0.5% is actually on banking and bank level. So it's about corporations and banks making higher transactions and those taxes. So quite a large sum of money will be coming from that as well.
I see. All right, Catherine, we're going to have to leave it there, but I thank you very much for coming on the show and talking to us today.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, we'll be back in just a minute on Moose Talks to wrap things up.
Fountain Tire wants to help you get ready for those chilly fall days. The crisp rain, leaves peppered across slick pavement, cold air, the morning frost, the sun coming up later, setting earlier. It's hard to see, it's wet and cold and dark, it's fall. It's awful. It's fallful. Chilly fall days, we know them well. Right now, save up to 25% on select Goodyear tires. Our best deal of the season. Offer ends October 26th. Visit fountaintire.com for details. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Why miss out on having better appliances? Come to City Furniture to see the latest innovations like fingerprint-proof stainless steel, incredible technology, and money-saving energy efficiency. Shop City Furniture for modern appliances, low prices, and time-honored customer service. Plus, with more on the floor than any other store, you can buy it today and take it home today. See the selection at cityfurniture.ca or in Dawson Creek and Fort St. John.
Hi, this is Jen with Oscars, reminding you, in addition to being your first choice for disposal and recycle bins at your office, shop, or residence, we also offer portable toilets, combo trailers, light towers, and all sizes of larger roll-off bins for your pipeline, facility, or construction project. Core certified, locally owned, and always going the extra mile to make sure you get the great service you deserve. Call us today, 250-785-8158, serving Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, and surrounding areas.
If booking holiday parties is on your to-do list this fall, let Pomeroy Hotel and Conference Center and Chances Casino take care of all your events. Multiple spaces are available for holiday parties, including Just Jack's and Casino for smaller groups and banquet rooms for up to 400 people. Spaces will go fast, so call Katrina at 250-794-4010. Plus, ask about the Take the Elevator home room rate for just $129 for all event guests. For more information, visit PomeroyHotel.com or ChancesFSJ.com. Use your game sense, know your limit, and play within it.
Ryerson Contracting, proud to be a sponsor of local sports. Ryerson Contracting, specialists in pipeline and facility construction, turnaround, and maintenance. Let Ryerson Contracting's combination of quality personnel and equipment complete your next job with safety and integrity. Call 785-0515.
Now, a Sports Boosters update.
The Fort St. John Curling Club will be hosting a doubles fun spiel on Saturday, October 19th. Fee is $120 per team, which includes a dinner and dance. If you're interested, please register with the Fort St. John Curling Club by October 15th. Call 250-785-2037 or email fsjcurlingclub@telus.net. Dinner and dance tickets for non-curlers are only $30. Games commence at 1 p.m. with dinner to follow at 6 p.m. Come out and enjoy a fun afternoon of curling.
Send us your sports info, sports@moosefm.ca, or by fax, 263-9749. Sports Boosters on Moose FM.
SS Automotive would like to remind you that they are a government inspection facility. They can inspect vehicles coming in from out of province or inspect up to 5,500 GVW. We do Pigger certification and windshields as well. Quick turnaround guaranteed. Check us out in Taylor or at ssautomotive.ca.
Hi, this is Ted with PIMS Production Equipment. Talk to us at PIMS for electrical work, air compressors, pumps, valves, relief valves, office phones, and computer networks. Experience the best in service. Check us out at PIMS.ca or call PIMS at 250-787-0808.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
Well, that does it for this episode of Moose Talks. We'd like to thank again Catherine and Jocelyn for joining us today to talk about the election. We're still hoping to have the two remaining candidates in our riding on the show next week, Marcia Lukoch of the NDP and Ron Valent of the People's Party of Canada. We're going to continue to reach out to them, and hopefully they'll be able to make time for us next Friday. Moose Talks is produced by Tracy Teves with studio production and camera operation by Serena Deschner. I'm Dub Craig. Tune in next week and keep being awesome.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.
Energetic